Hello, Rama Pupoda. Hope all are in good health, feeling great, wonderful, having a happy and peaceful life. Now let's continue with TPR. Bose had a son who was around 20 years old at the time. He was a brilliant young man. Bose wanted to hand over the management of the factory to him and then settle down at the holy feet of Bhagavan. However, the boy suddenly died, and Bose was inconsolable. Many of us went from Ramana Ashramam to console him. We talked about all the theoretical aspects of Bhagavan's teaching, but it was of no avail. We felt that he had to be brought before Bhagavan, since very rarely there were people in the hall between 12 and 2 in the afternoon. I brought Bose to Bhagavan then. Bhagavan instructed Bose to sit close to him and continued looking at him. Bose was in physical and mental anguish. He was very restless. He could not even open his eyes. Bhagavan focused on him and ultimately Bose opened his eyes. He managed to look at Bhagavan and Bhagavan continued looking at him. After some time, this shook him up and he shouted at the top of his voice, "Bhagavan is their God." His voice was filled with the pain and agony of his loss. Bhagavan continued to look at him. Then Bhagavan said, "Bose, your question itself has the answer." He had shouted, "Is there God?" "There is God." For 5 minutes there was absolute silence. Bhagavan continued to look at Bose, and Bose too looked at Bhagavan. Tipyar observed all this from outside the window. He noticed a change in Bose. He became his normal self and prostrated before Bhagavan. Bose smiled for the first time and said, "Thank you, Bhagavan." Tipyar said, "This is the compassion of Bhagavan." We cannot understand what took place between Bhagavan and Bose. He asked the question, "Is there God?" And Bhagavan answered, "Your question itself has the answer." The answer was intellectual, but the compassion was overwhelmingly healing and absolutely solid. Bose remained a great devotee of Bhagavan. He had already built the Bose compound, which has many cottages for devotees to stay in. Even TPR stayed there during his last days until I brought him back into the ashram. Bhagavan tried to get up at 3:30 in the morning. He would go up the hill around 5 or 5:30 in the morning. He would take his bath around 6. He would have his breakfast at 6:30. At 8 he would be in the hall. At 11 he would go for lunch. He had a routine. So I used to tell TPR, our Bhagavan is very predictable, whereas all the other great masters like Sheshatri Swami and Ramakrishna Paramahamsa were not. TPR said, "Do not talk like that. You can never predict a jnani." He added, "I am going to narrate some incidents. I want you to analyze whether you have understood them or not. There was once a Swami from North India. He was old and had stayed on for a few weeks. He must have been a very ripe soul because people could see an aura around him. On the day he was leaving, he stood before Bhagavan. I too was beside Bhagavan. The Swami said, "I am very happy, Bhagavan, that I got all that I wanted after coming to Arunachala and to your ashram. But I need two more things to be fulfilled, and they can be done only by you." All of us in the hall thought that the Swami was going to get a very rude shock from Bhagavan. We waited with bated breath. "Bhagavan, with a movement of his head, signaled the Swami to continue. The Swami, with folded hands, said, "My first request is that I want to place my head on your holy feet and melt. I want to wash your feet with my tears." Bhagavan waited without uttering a word. "The second thing, Bhagavan," continued the Swami, "you have to put your holy hands on me and declare that you have given me Atma Sakshatkar." Though his eyes continued to shed tears, the Swami's face glowed with fulfillment as he took leave of Bhagavan. Tipiar continued, "An American came to the ashram. We did not know his name. The tall, handsome American entered without announcing his name. From the moment he entered, Bhagavan's gaze was on him. He sat before Bhagavan for 3 hours. Some kind of communication was going on between them during this time. There was such deep silence, no words were exchanged. The American got up and left. He never came back. I asked Bhagavan, 'How is it that this man came and was here only for 3 hours?' Bhagavan replied, 'He got what he wanted. His mission is over. Where is the need to stay on further? Everything ends in the now.' Then there was an aristocratic lady from America who sent a telegram stating that she was coming to India just to be with Bhagavan. She said she was reaching Bombay by ship on a particular date and then taking the train to Madras. She had also written that she would be taking a special train and coming to Arunachala on a particular date. She sent a telegram from Bombay confirming her program. She gave another telegram from Madras. She was disappointed that there was no one to receive her at the railway station when she arrived. That's all, folks. Let's continue in the next chapter. Thank you. Bye bye. Rama Pupodu.